Afternoon, so I'm going to show you my koi pond, which is Arduino controlled, partially solar powered and spring fed. So I'm starting out here at the tilapia pond. I'm going to show you my solar panels to start off with. So I got two 100 watt solar panels. They're 12 volt, but then they're in series, so I got 24 volts. And then I just got two car batteries in series down there too, for 24 volts at night. I started out here as well because so there's my artesian well, my spring water. So that's all well pressure right there. There's no pump or anything on there, so all that water's coming out of there under well pressure. And that also feeds the koi pond. So power and water are run underneath the walkway over there. So we're going to head up to the koi pond now. Alright, so it's coming into view now. So it's about 10,000 gallons. The middle of it's about 4 feet deep. It's got two waterfalls, a dock, stream. So here's the koi pond. There's some other fish. I got about 30 koi, goldfish. Precocinuses, never see them. They're pretty small. We lost our big one. We had an 18-inch one last year, but he got away during Irma. So that's part of the reason why we rose this up. Before our pond was level with the ground. So we poured bagged concrete all the way around to raise it up about a foot. So hopefully if we get the flooding we saw during Irma again, we won't lose any fish like we did last time. We didn't really lose that many, but we had water up over the top of koi pond probably 8 to 10 inches, so we're trying to avoid that again. So starting off, here's one of the waterfalls. This is the main waterfall. This one runs all the time, and it's on a filter. But before we get there, so we've got a skimmer on the side of the pond running to a pool pump with a sand filter, so then that just returns over there and just circulates the water around and pulls the leaves out. I don't really run the skimmer too much with the pool pump. It's horse-and-a-half motor, so it takes a lot of 120 volts, or it takes a lot of watts there, so I don't run that too often. Another pump we have is the one for the waterfall. So this is a 3,600 gallon per hour pump, external, and it runs off 120 volts. So there's the 120 volts, and that's got a relay in there to turn it on and off through the Arduino. And then also we've got lights over here. They're running all the way around the pond. Those are also 120. They're only about 2 watts a piece. There's 30 of them, so 60 watts for running them. And there's a relay on there as well in that outlet to turn those on and off. And there's some fish again. Back to this though. So we turn this on and off through the Arduino, and about 136 watts. That's a pretty efficient pump. And this comes through up into my homemade filter. So this is just a 55 gallon drum that I cut the top off, and I put the top into the bottom and made a little air spocket in the bottom and put a air manifold down there, and then just basically filled it with pea gravel. So the water comes in through the bottom, filters up through the top, and you can see it's filtering off some algae and nastiness there. And then this is where the air manifold goes down to. So I put an air compressor, air gun in there. I just shoot air up in there and it bubbles real big, and that backwashes it. And I plug those feed my spillways. I plug those, and I open this 3-inch hose right here, or 3-inch pipe here, and then that's where all the nasty backwash goes when I'm running the backwash. So here's the spillways coming out. Got one right there, another one down here. So there's 2 spillways feeding from that pump. And there's another view of the pond looking up the stream. And I also got 3. So we just started these from seed. They're water lotuses, lily pads. Started them from seed about 2 weeks ago. So once they get some pretty good roots established, we'll put some rocks on the top and then put them in the pond so that koi's can't eat them. Last time we had a bunch of issue with the koi eating our lotuses and things, so hopefully we do a little better job this time. We also got a shade sail up there, so that just blocks the sun. Too much sun in the pond, it gets pretty green. It's already pretty green right now, but the shade helps quite a bit. So we got that run from the four corners of the big side of the pond. And at some point we'll clean up this garden again and plant some more flowers, but just got done with a lot of it today, so we'll get that straightened out. There's another lily pad. So we got 3 of them. We're going to put them in 3 corners, and there's another one. Each one's got 4 lilies in it. So working our way over this way. So here's the dock. So what we got on there, right in the middle there, we got a float switch. So there's 2 floats on there, a high level and a low level. So if it gets too high, it'll pump water out. And down below the dock, we have a 24 volt submersible pump, and that turns on if the high level switch is on. So if it's raining, we got a big rain and the spillway can't keep up, or if we got a big rain, it'll pump out there and it just goes into the drainage ditch. And there's some more fish again. And if their low levels kicked on, we actually have there's an electronic ball valve underneath the dock there, tied into the artesian well. That's where our spring beds come from. So if the low level is kicked on and the water's too low, that'll kick on and start filling the pond. So we always stay within like 1 inch, either high or low. We're always within 1 inch of the high level or low level, or they stay within 1 inch each other. Another thing we have out there, that pipe right there is our airlift pump. So I got two 12 volt air pumps underneath the dock there as well. They're in series, so I can use my 24 volts from the solar panel to run those. And I run those at night for the most part, but since I'm running them off the solar panel, it's free. Whereas the stream pump and waterfall pump, they both run off 120, so they're pretty expensive to run. So I run the airlift pump at night, and I'll turn that on here in a second and show you what that looks like when it's running. So we got fill, drain, airlift, a bunch of koi. Also this net here, we were having a bunch of issues with birds, king fishing birds stealing the koi. So we put a net on the top, and that's pretty much stopped it in its tracks. So that helped out quite a bit. So we got a dock that goes out to the middle, and then another one that goes over the top of the stream. I just got done finishing these stairs this morning. So here we are at the top of the stream, and there's another shot of the waterfall from this perspective. So what else we got here? We've got our other pump. This is our 4,600 gallon per hour pump, and it runs the stream falls. And we got another outlet box there, and again there's a relay in there so we can turn on and off the stream from the control panel, that I'll show you in a minute. Both these pumps have priming pots, leaf strainers, so we don't get leaves. We can pull leaves out of it through there. Oh, I forgot to show you over here. So both of the pumps are pulled off the bottom. You can't really see it too well from this perspective. We'll get in there and look. So you see that white dot there, or not dot, but white. That's where the stream is fed from. Then over there, that's just the bottom feed. So that's what feeds the waterfall over there. That's where we pull the water from. And we can also pull from the skimmer over there too. I got a ball valve in there where I can pull from either the skimmer or the bottom. So we got some hungry fish now. But alright, going back over here. So we got our 4,600 gallon per hour pump. And then that little panel right there is my 24 volt relays and stuff like that to run the electronic ball valve and the pump, and most of my wiring's in there. It's pretty nasty looking, but it's only 24 volts, so I wasn't too worried about it. Moving on down, so we'll turn on the stream pump here from the control panel here in a minute. In line with the stream pump, we also have a UV clarifier, so it just tees off there, and most of the water comes into this big spillway, which is just a small 30-gallon cattle trough. But then the UV clarifier comes out right here too, so it all goes in the same spot. So that's how that works. So now we'll go and look at the fish light coming up here too. You can see it in there. So we'll go look at the control panel now. Which is in my screen porch. And there's another view of the waterfall. So here's the control panel where the Arduino's at. I repurposed my old cell phone and made that my HMI, my touch screen. So first thing on here, if you look at the top, there's my photo resistor. So that tells us if it's night or day, what the light value is. And we'll open it up and look inside. So Arduino Mega, and then just a breadboard running all my wiring. Down at the bottom there is my atmospheric pressure, temperature, and humidity sensor. So we got all that pulled onto the panel as well. We'll look at that first. So the first sensor there, so relative humidity, pulling off that sensor on the bottom there, so it's 42% right now. The air temperature, so that's just a regular temperature outside, it's 82.5 degrees right now. And then my water temperature, so that's I got a probe in there too, a thermistor hanging off the dock to tell me that. Right now the water temperature is about 64.5 degrees. Also got a water clarity sensor on there too, turbidity. So right now our water clarity is at 61. It's got a 0 to 100 range. Usually it runs around 61, but it's not real accurate. But I kind of wanted it when I did it, so I put one on there. And then we also have atmospheric pressure right there. So that's millibars. Right now it's 12 millibars. Moving over to, let's look at the bottom first. So that's my reading for the photoresistor. So right now it runs about 800. During the day it runs about 800. At night it'll run about 10 or so. At dusk it hits about 100, so that's why on there, that send button, you can actually change your temperature or your light threshold. So if you think it's getting darker or it's not reading right, you can calibrate it kind of there. So right now about 100 's dusk and dawn. So that's my light threshold. Moving up over here, so that this button here, this indicator says day. When it's day it's green, when it's night it's red. So I don't have my pumps turning on and off a lot at night. I make it so it has to count. There's a 2.5 second cycle time on the program, so it has to count 100 of those before it actually sets it to day or sets it to night. So if the light bounces back and forth around 100 a bunch of times, it's not kicking on and off the pumps quite a bit. So looking back at the top, the first one is auto pump, and I'll explain that at the end. Next one is cycle fill. So that's my my fill and drain pumps. if I wanted to, which is on right now. So right now it's draining. If you look at this indicator there, it says drain. Green means it's draining right now, and red means it's red next to the fill means the fill pump, the fill ball valve isn't on. But once both the float valves are low, then it'll start filling automatically since the cycle fill is on. The waterfall switch is on, so the waterfall is on like we saw. We'll turn the stream on here, and that should kick on our stream. And we'll leave that on right now, so it's, as you can see, it's running, and we'll go look at that here in a second. The next one is my air pumps, so we'll kick that on, and then water should start coming out of that little spiller, little pipe there, which it is. So that's all ran off air pressure. This little 12-volt air pump. Last one on there is my lights. So there's little lights that run around the shade sail. So as you can see, they turned on now. Can't really tell too much right now because it's daytime, but at night they really put out a bunch of light. So what else is on here? So we'll turn the lights off since we don't really need those. The auto pump. So what that does, every day it counts how many cycles it has during the day, how many 2.5 second cycles there are during the day. And then the next day, if I have the auto pump on, it'll know how long the day was the day before, and it bases that for the next day. If auto pump's on, the waterfall is on during the day, and then the stream is on the last 80% of the day. So if we had 10,000 cycles the day or yesterday, then it'll turn on at 8,000 today. If auto pump is on, which I leave it on, and then at night just the air pumps turn on automatically. So that's handy because it'll save us a lot of energy, because like I said, the waterfall pump is 136 watts, and then the stream pump is like 178 watts, and the air pump is free because it's running off solar. So everything's running off solar power except for the two big pumps, and then the lights. Those are 120 volts. So those are on now, so we'll go out there and look at that. So you can see the air pump's on. We'll look at that here in a second some more from the other side. But stream waterfall is on now because we turned that switch on. And the UV clarifier turns on at the same time with the waterfall. Not a whole lot of flow, but it keeps the water moving there down the stream. And then now you can hear that little hum. That's the air pump. So we turn those on too. And now you can see the water coming out there. So I showed you the indicator, and the indicator showed that the pond was actually draining right now. But if it was filling, it would be filling right where you see that water coming out there. So it's the same pipe hooked up to the air pump that's hooked up to that ball valve. So if the pond is filling and the electronic ball valve is on, the water will be coming out there. And there's the fish again. Also on here, I forgot to mention, we've got 5-volt LED lights, submergible, that are hung in the waterfall. We got there's 3 in the waterfall, 3 under the dock, and then 3 in the stream. See if I can get a view of one. So those turn on at night too, and they stay on all night and then turn off in the morning once the sun comes back out. So that's most of my pond. If you have any questions, you can ask in the comments, but I think it turned out pretty nice. Like I said, we got about 30 koi, a couple golden entrays, goldfish, about 10,000 gallons of water. Alright, thank you for watching.